Okay, 8.6 practice. I'm just going to go through a few examples. If you want to check your work here with my first three, maybe see how I kind of got to the point. I'm going to try and do it the box method way because I actually do like that a little better. Excuse me. So let's go to 5. 5, 6, 10, and 24 can all be divided by the same factor. So I'm going to factor that out. It's not a 6, it's not 3, but I believe it's 2. So 2 here, and there's going to be 3r squared left because divide that by 2. Divide this by 2, I get a negative 5r. Divide this by 2, I get a negative 12. Okay, and then I'm going to set up my box. I'm going to write my little notes over here. AC is negative 36, and my B is a negative 5. I have to think of all the factors of negative 36 that add up to 5. So if I see 9 and 4 multiplied together, one of them needs to be negative. So if this is negative, the bigger absolute value will be negative. So negative 9 times 4 is a negative 36. Negative 9 plus 4 is a negative 5. So remembering that just this part now I'm working with. The 2 will come in later. So my 3r squared works here. My last term of negative 12 goes here. And then I'm going to do negative 9r and 4r here. Okay, and now I need to factor out the common factors between each row and each column. So 3r squared and 9r. So I believe a 3r, because there's an r in each of them. There's a 3 can be factored out. Out of these two, a 4 can be factored out. Out of these two, a negative 3 can be factored out. And out of these ones, just an r. I want to make sure to go back and double check. R times 3r is 3r squared. Negative 3 times 3r is negative 9r. R times 4 is 4r. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. So I have my two binomials now. 3r plus 4 multiplied by r minus 3. And not to forget, my 2 has to come down here. Completely factored. Okay. Number 6. So 5, 17, and 14 can't be divided all by the same number. So I want to look for, that's what I want to look for first, but there's nothing. So I'm going to do 14 times 5, which is 70. So factors of 70 that add up to negative 17. So if this is positive, they have to be the same, and that operation is going to tell, this right here is going to tell you what both of these numbers have to be. So 10 times 7, negative 10 times negative 7 is positive 70, but when added together, it's a negative 17. So I'm going to write my box, remembering to put 5z squared here and my positive 14 here, negative 10z, and negative 7z. So I want to factor out a common factor here, which would be, I believe, a negative 7. And here would be a negative 2. Here would be a z. And here would be 2z. Nope. 5z. Okay. So I'm going to check. Z times 5z, 5z squared, negative 2 times a positive 5, 10z. Negative 7z, positive 14. So I have my z minus 2 multiplied by 5z minus 7. Okay, the next one I'm going to do is number 8. 2m minus 15. So my AC is a negative 30. My B is a negative 1. So negative 30 factors of negative 30 that add up to negative 1. So 6 times 5 multiplied together. One of them needs to be negative. The bigger one, because this one's negative, the bigger one has to be negative. So added together, they get me negative 1. Multiplied together, get me negative 30. See, my 2m squared goes here. My negative 15 goes here. Negative 6m, positive 5m. Okay, what do these two have in common? 5. What do these two have in common? 2m. These two have in common just an m. These two have in common is a negative 3. So then I want to look. M times 2m is 2m squared. 2m times negative 3m is negative 6m. Negative 3 times 5 is a negative 15, and m times 5 is 5m. So I have my two binomials, 2m plus 5 multiplied by m minus 3. Okay. 84. 84, so 84 can be divided by 3. So we can divide out a 3 out of all of these. So x squared plus 3x minus 28. Factors of 28, that add up to 3 because I don't have anything, I don't have a coefficient anymore on my x squared. So factors of negative 28. So 7 times 4, one of them being negative, so this is positive, so the greater absolute value has to be the positive one. So when I add those together, it gets me a positive 3. So I have 3 on the outside, x plus 7, x minus 4. And I'm done. That was only because I had a coefficient of 1 on my x squared. Let's do 11. So factors of negative 25, so AC, that add up to negative 24. So let's do 25 and 1 multiplied together gets me negative 25, gets me negative 25, and added together gets me negative 24. Remembering that my 5t goes in here, my negative 5 goes in here, then negative 25t. And this is when I might change this letter to x because I don't like t as a variable. And a positive 1x. So what do these have in common? Probably a 1. This has in common a negative 5. These have in common an x. These have in common a 5x. Checking my work. 5x times x is 5x squared. Negative 5 times 5 is a negative 25x. 1 times x is 1x. And negative 5 times 1 is negative 5. So x minus 5. 5x plus 1. Done. This one, let's factor out a 5. Well, actually a 10 because they all end in 0. So 2 squared plus 11 x plus 12. Okay, factors of 24, that's my AC. My B is 11. So let's do 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8. So 3 times 8. Multiplied together gets me 24. Added together gets me 11. Okay, so my first, remember again, when I factor out, I'm just working with this here. So 2x squared, positive 12, 3x, 8x. What does this have in common? Just an x. This have in common? This is a 4. This, what do these have in common? A 2x. This has in common a 3. 2x times x is 2x squared, 2x times 4 is 8x, 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times 4 is 12. So I need to make sure to bring my 10 down. Multiply 2x plus 3 multiplied by x plus 4. Okay, I want to go through this one because it's a little more difficult. So the area of a rectangle computer is 4x squared plus 20x plus 16, and the width is 2x plus 8. So I'm going to do the box method. 4x squared. I'm recording.
I'm so sorry.
You need to get to work.
I'm going to
Yeah. So I'm taking these, so factors of 64 that add up to 20. So 16 times 4 multiplied together gets me 64, added together gets me 20. So 16x and 4x. Now I already know one of mine, so 2x and 8. Now I'm actually going to put that up here. 2x and 8. If I look at this, I factored out an 8 out of this, a 2x out of this, and what's left? So 2x, I would have to have another 2x. So 2x times 2x is 4x squared. 2x times what equals 4x? So 2x plus 2, or 2x times 2. 8 times 2 is 16. So I can check them all. So this is the one length. This 2x plus 2 is my other side length. Okay. The area of a rectangle parking lot is 21x squared minus 44x plus 15. The width of the parking lot is 30x minus 5. So again, 3x and negative 5. My 21x squared, 21. My 15 goes here. I need two things here. Now I should be able to see what times 3 will get me 21, so 7x should go here. So I should look here. This would make 35x. So what added to 35x will get me negative 44. So here, what times negative 5 gets me? So negative 3. And this here would get me a negative 9. X, when added together, gets me a negative 44. So here, 7x minus 3 is my other side length. 7x, minus 3.